I want to share some major news about a technology that we need to fight climate change. There's been a massive step forward in battery technology. Now, I don't cover each and every bit of battery technology news because it's either incremental, a tiny little step forwards, or it's something that sounds amazing but is actually only being tested out in a lab. In other words, battery news is normally either extremely boring or almost entirely hype. But the thing is, there's some new news on the block, and this news is different.
It is an actual alternative type of battery that might be coming to fruition finally.
This is Davide Castelvecchi. He's a senior physical sciences reporter at Nature, and actually a former colleague of mine. He's recently written a piece called Beyond Lithium: How Sodium-Ion Batteries Could Change the World. And while we're talking about who's going to be in this video, I should probably introduce myself as well. I'm Adam. I am a climate scientist with a PhD in atmospheric physics, and I'm here to help you understand the changing planet we all share. Now, as I've already said, there has been a major step in how we can produce batteries, and in turn, this is a major step forward for how we produce energy, and in turn, this is a major step forward in how we can combat climate change. Perhaps when you think of a battery, you think of what's inside your smartphone or inside your laptop, and what we're talking about in this video isn't all that different. It's just much bigger. Batteries which can really take on major roles in our energy system. These bigger batteries are so fundamentally important because, well, we need to stop burning fossil fuels, because burning fossil fuels is releasing greenhouse gases, and that's heating our planet, and that's making things worse for all of us. So one of the most powerful tools to do that is using renewables, solar power and wind. But of course, the sun isn't always shining, the wind isn't always blowing, and boom, that's where batteries come in. So batteries can help store the extra sunlight and wind and use that energy when the sun isn't blowing or the wind isn't shining. I think I got that the wrong way round. This isn't the only reason that batteries are so important for helping us quit fossil fuels. They also help us electrify things which previously run by burning fuel. So the most obvious example is in transportation. Think of battery-powered electric vehicles, electric cars, e-bikes, mopeds, all that good stuff. At the moment, there is a clear winner on the kind of battery that we use for all these applications. It's called lithium-ion batteries. And the element lithium is the kind of key ingredient within these batteries. And honestly, lithium batteries are doing an incredible job.
Lithium-ion batteries are amazing, and they've dropped in price astonishingly.
I made a video recently about how lithium-ion batteries have come down staggeringly in price. In fact, they've dropped 93% in price in just 15 years. Now, side note, but solar power and wind turbines have also dropped by almost as much. And because the prices have come down so much, we can now get round-the-clock renewables using this triple combo of solar, wind, and batteries in many parts of the world, cheaper than getting energy from burning fossil fuels. Now, these price drops are absolutely staggering. I mean, just try and have a genuine think about anything else that has dropped by around 90% in recent years. If you can think of anything, comment below. All I could think of was NFTs. I don't really miss pictures like this one. I made a video recently about air conditioners and how they can be absolutely vital, life-saving tools in the face of extreme heat, but that they do come with a whole heap of downsides. And loads of people commented, completely rightly, that in lots of places you can combine air conditioners with solar panels and batteries, and then you don't need to rely on the grid to provide the power for your air conditioner. In fact, loads of the commenters were saying that they already do this. And so, yeah, that's another incredibly valuable use of batteries in our energy system. Oh, and if you missed that video, by the way, make sure you're subscribed and you hit the bell so you don't miss future ones. Okay, so modern batteries are frankly incredible. But of course, there's a catch, or several catches. These batteries, as I've mentioned, are based on lithium, but many still also use precious elements in their system, namely nickel, manganese, and cobalt. And here's where the issues start to come in. To get hold of these materials, we've been relying particularly heavily on certain countries. So for example, most of the world's lithium is being mined in Australia. And while lithium isn't an especially rare resource, relying on a single country for most most of the world's lithium. I mean, we've seen with the Strait of Hormuz just how wrong things can go when we rely too hard on just one supply chain. And then there's heaps of ethical and environmental concerns. Mining lithium and the other materials used in these batteries can cause major environmental damages to water, to soils, and in turn, all of this can affect people and ecosystems. And then there's the specifics of how all this stuff is being mined. 3/4 of the world's cobalt is currently being mined in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and these mines have been linked to a whole host of abuses. Things like forced labor, child labor, extremely unsafe working conditions. And then on top of all that, the money coming from this industry has been linked to violence and conflict in the region. Now, just to emphasize, not all lithium-ion batteries use these other elements, but many still do, and the way we're getting hold of them today is a problem that it doesn't look like we're about to address anytime soon. And then in parallel with all of this, demand is booming. As the world transitions its energy systems, we're seeing batteries being built widely all across the world. Take California, which has enough battery energy storage to have a power output of several nuclear power plants. Or Australia, where it's becoming more and more normal to have battery packs in your home. Or countries all over the world where battery-powered electric vehicles are overtaking their gas-guzzling counterparts. The question is, can the supply keep up? And can it keep up without causing too much destruction?
Demand has been exploding. It's been growing exponentially, and it will continue to grow exponentially. If we had, another complementary technology that is maybe even cheaper, that transition could be made even faster.
Now, for years, there have been reports on different kinds of batteries. I mean, just look at all these YouTube thumbnails hyping new inventions. But often that's what these new inventions are. They're hype. And as any researcher or scientist knows, it's often very difficult for a new technology to get out of the lab and into the real world where it's commercially viable. And that's why I tend not to make videos about specific battery news, because I don't want to hype something up that's just going to fade away over the coming years. But that's also why I want to make a video specifically about this battery news, because this news is fundamentally different. It's not some new hyped lab experiment. It's the biggest battery producer in the world, CATL. They've announced mass production of a new type of battery, and BYD, the world's biggest electric car manufacturer, is also investing heavily in this technology. In other words, this new battery isn't hypothetical. It's actually happening. So what's so special about this new kind of battery? Well, it's not based on lithium, it's based on sodium.
Sodium, we all know it, it's in table salt. It is one of the most abundant elements on Earth.
Sodium is much easier to get hold of than lithium. It's about 1,000 times more common on land and about 60,000 times more common in the sea. That's why we call it salt water, not lithium water. Now, technically that joke doesn't work because you can make a lithium salt, but let's gloss over that one. Sodium-ion batteries aren't actually new. They're pretty much as old as lithium-ion batteries, but for ages they've been gathering dust on the shelf until recent years when we've realized they could actually be really useful in loads of different ways. It's also not just the sodium that's really easy to get your hands on. The other materials that make up sodium-ion batteries are all fairly straightforward as well. These batteries can also operate well at lower temperatures than lithium-ion batteries, and there are some reports, at least from the companies making them, that they are less flammable as well. In terms of actually making them, there's a similar production cycle to lithium-ion batteries, meaning we can retrofit production lines that already exist and scale up production hopefully really quickly. They're not as energy dense as the densest lithium-ion batteries, which means for a certain weight, a certain amount of sodium-ion battery, you can't store quite as much energy as you could for the best lithium-ion batteries. The other big question is price, and while they're still more expensive today, there's strong evidence that they're going to compete with lithium-ion batteries in price really soon.
Some consulting companies say it will take 3 years, some will say you have to wait until 2035.
I find it so telling that the most pessimistic prediction is still within the decade. So often when we see new tech like this, the most optimistic predictions are decades out in the future. This is stuff that's happening right now. So we don't know exactly when they'd become cheaper, but we understand that the manufacturing processes should be pretty simple, and the raw materials themselves are fundamentally cheaper. And as Davide told me, there shouldn't be any obvious roadblocks, so the path to them competing with lithium-ion batteries on price looks relatively clear. And all of this is huge news for the energy transition.
One energy analyst said that it could be a game changer, especially when it comes to storing renewable energy on the grid.
And while we're talking about the price of things, I just want to remind you that I don't sell you all stuff with product placements or ads. If you're into that, you can help me keep doing it by becoming a patron up here. As a thank you, all paid patrons get to see videos like this one a little bit early, as well as extra stuff like my unedited video with Davide. Now, as great as this news is, and as hyped as I am, it's important to emphasize this isn't some magic silver bullet. This isn't the one and only technology that's going to help us do the energy transition. Is this it for batteries? Is sodium-ion the future? Lithium's out?
Probably not. I don't think that anyone expects sodium to actually replace lithium completely in batteries.
So it seems unlikely that they're going to replace lithium-ion batteries, but they could definitely complement them.
It's good to not put all of our eggs in one energy basket.
And I guess the sodium energy basket should hopefully be a bigger basket.
Yes, and more readily available around the world.
And together, all different kinds of batteries combined with renewables are making the energy transition and the fight against climate change possible in a way that we just couldn't even have imagined a few years ago. So yeah, this video is a little bit different to normal, but this news was so good I just couldn't pass it up. If you're into me making videos like this, or even if you're not, let me know in the comments below. And while you're clicking on things, a like and a comment go a pretty long way in helping videos like this one reach an even wider audience. Now, all these advances in battery technology come at an absolutely vital time, because over the past months, we've seen just how unreliable and expensive burning fossil fuels can be. And simultaneously, we're seeing how reliable and cheap renewables and batteries can be. And frankly, that changes everything. And here's why. Okay, until next time. Bye. Ow. Ow.